And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the world. It is I, John D, a.k.a. Too Much, and my wife,
Kanika the do times two.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
So I just want those of you that are following on Wisdom, thank you for staying with us. Everybody else, listening to my wife, I realized I didn't press record. But anyways, I had asked her, what did she think was a healthy relationship? And from what I gathered, it was a place of peace. It was a place of growing as a family. What you would see on television, it was like intentional relationship building with each part of the family, whether it was through games, watching movies, or just conversations about what's going on in each other's lives.
Very good summation.
Oh, okay, word. Well, I guess in my mind, that was like that's the fruits of the healthy relationship. How we got there, I think, in order to be a healthy relationship, to make it look like that, it has to be teamwork. I noticed that, one of my podcasts, I was talking about how you were really creating what the identity of the family looked like, and then just recent as yesterday, you said that I get the credit, but I'm like, I don't really get the credit because no woman believes that. I mean, if a woman knows her role in a household, she knows that if the house looks good, it's because of that woman. Mm-hmm. And I believe that. And I know that a lot of times we portray this message like the men are running, but now I can see that why it was so heavy for you in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Not only with the way that I spoke to you or the way that I handled temper tantrums, but the amount of work that you actually had to do without a solid partner. Mm-hmm. I don't even know that you knew the work that you were doing until you were kind of almost deciding that maybe I can do this in a different way.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like, and I do want to say this, I had no idea that I was making it that difficult, and I didn't know the responsibilities of a man that compliments his wife appropriately. Mm. So the information that I had was very limited. I was just under the impression if I can make enough money, I'm at home majority of the time. I go out with my family on holidays or whatever specifically. I don't miss those moments that I was doing what a good father was doing. So that's what in my head. And not only that, social media will make you believe that you are better than you are because I'm showing things on social media, but all of this is orchestrated by my wife. But everybody's like, oh, he's such a good father. He does this and that. I was just doing the bare minimum. And I didn't realize the amount of work that you were actually putting in. So I was even just talking about this morning that, I remember I said I was going to start playing more of a role. And remember when I first got back, I was like, I had this thing planned out and it just was horrible. And I was so mad because I was like, it didn't. And I was just like, over the course of time, like I'm just watching Kanika just organically brings the family together and everybody's having a good time. And I was like, I'm going to do that. And it did not work. And I was so mad. And I was just like, this is garbage. But over, like I said, time, I started to understand how to do it and that I sounded a specific way. And the way that I sounded, it didn't sound fun.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, so.
I don't know what it was that you were planning that first time, but it was work. A lot of what John used to do when he first got back, he was on this mission about being a more present and active father and husband. And when I say this dude was putting us through boot camp, and we were like, oh my God. I mean, you couldn't even enjoy it. And I remember you were so frustrated. There were 2 times, I can't remember what we did the second time, but the first time I remember we just started playing games, and then we did like round robin with music. Everybody at the table, you had to choose your next song.
Oh yeah.
So we ended up being able to listen to some of our kids' top favorite songs, and they had to listen to some of our favorite songs, which would be Old in a Mug, but they still, like, we all got a feel for everybody, Oh, the other one was Where's Your Zen Place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does it look like? What's going on?
What does it smell like? What food is there? What do you feel? What do you see? And it was crazy to see how everybody's space was different. I feel like yours was a little, we had to work on you because description wise, John was like, I don't know. It was, but after listening to each person, like, you came into yours and I think you were really able to loosen up on that day.
Yeah. It's so crazy how limited your view is until you see other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh my gosh, why am I not looking at it that way?
Yeah.
And then you like just kind of, it was like a, I guess a different type of reflection. Like, you can stand outside of the box.
Yeah.
But you don't even know that you're in a box until you realize that other people didn't even get the same lines you got. He's like, well, how come I couldn't come up with that?
Yeah. Yeah. But, and the other thing is, it lets you know what people are really about. Because I remember, was Dallas by, I think I was by the water. Dallas, I think he was in the forest. And Day was in like a prairie field or something like that. Like, there were flowers and, I remember she was just laying on a blanket in the sun. And it was like, when she was describing what the inside of, she was in a cottage. That's where she was. She was in a cottage. And you listen and you're like, my daughter's Zen place where she would feel most peaceful is a cottage. I would have never seen that.
Yeah.
Dallas being, how he is about architecture, I would have never thought he would have just been in a forest somewhere. It was really,
and it's still there.
Yeah.
No, I just asked him yesterday.
Oh, really?
I was like, if you could pick any secluded place. Yeah. It's so crazy. But, mine is definitely changed, but I have a better idea of what it is. And, I'm not going to lie, like, I feel like our home is set up for different Zen places.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Day has even used that term. But, I think, and that's one of the things about when we bought this house, I felt like there were peaceful spaces everywhere. And where I didn't see it, I could envision it becoming.
Yeah.
And I want this to, that's really where I want it to be. I mean, when we did that activity with the kids, it was before we bought the house, but in here, it's like trying to figure out what will that space be where we'll be able to connect with the kids, with ourselves, with, nature, it's just a great place. I'm ready to make me some Zen places. John be trying to stop me though, because I be trying to be at Home Depot and buying stuff, and he's a hater.
It's a process of things, and like her process it's like it's supposed to be a real process where it has multiple steps, and she skips over so many steps, and I just feel like I have to sometimes remind her. But even me working in communication, me reminding her sounds like, who are you talking to like that? And I'm like, I done already rubbed her the wrong way. And this is what she wants to do. She did, like, this is supposed to be her Zen idea. Like, if work was Zen, she wants to redecorate. And I gotta kind of like stop things sometimes because she moves so quickly. And I feel like we're not able to move that quickly yet, but she moves as if we can move that quickly.
Look, and the plan was when we came in here, I was like, look, I'm not going to make any changes in the first year. We're just going to relax and get everything. And then I was like, so let me scrape this ceiling, get the this textured ceiling. We should lay flooring. We should do this. He was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I mean, but see though, I guess how it ties into being what does a healthy relationship look like? I had to, and I'm not gonna lie, like we've had some run-ins because I'm thinking in my head that she's supposed to view things the way that I do, and she can if I've never told her the way that I'm viewing them. And I realized recently that I have to do a better job with describing the way that I'm looking at it versus thinking we're looking at it the same way.
Oh, definitely, because we're never looking at it
Not
the
ever,
same way.
but I know, and that's a lot of the times when I'm bringing something to you, I'm automatically thinking you're looking at it that way, and I'll say something, and then you'll say something that makes me feel like, hey, we're not looking at it the same way, but I respond in a way like it's trying to trigger you, and it's not.
Yeah, and I'll be like, let's fight.
She's always ready to fight, and I'm like, look, I don't want to fight. I don't like, and I promise.
Put up your dukes.
And she be ready to fight, and I'm like looking like, and you know, like when you grow up in an environment where you enjoy the opportunity to like fight, right. When you get uncomfortable, your default goes in, and then you say something to say, oh, you do want to fight, but I don't ever want to fight. It's just sometimes I don't know how to respond.
It be feeling real fighty.
Like
real fighty.
I give an example. Yesterday, we go out to lunch with the kids, and this lady disturbs my wife's peace, and I'm looking. I watched the whole thing happen, and
wait, let me just tell you what happened first. So we go to this restaurant, and I said, "Oh, can I have this fajita, platter or whatever with guacamole?" She said no, and I was like, no as in I can't have guacamole. She was like, no. And I was like, so you all don't serve guacamole anymore? And she said, well, I have to make it in it like a big, I was like, oh, you have to make like a big serving. And she said, yeah. So now I'm ready to fight. Now she's pregnant, so I'm not going to fight her. But the point is like, I was in a good place being out with my family, and my girl just looked at me with the stone face and said, no, like she ain't gonna give it to me, but I know it's there. I know guacamole is in the Mexican restaurant somewhere. And so I was like, what in the world, right? But it wasn't like, oh, we don't offer it as a side, or there was nothing like that. It was just like, no, and I was just supposed to be able to move on, and that thing made me mad. So
let's pause right there. So just to give you guys where I am, I'm watching this, and the lady it looked like a real abrupt rudeness. Like she didn't have time to explain why they didn't have guacamole, and the answer was no. And I'm thinking like, oh man, I hope my wife kind of ignores this, right? So the lady walks away, and
I looked at John like, you gonna let her talk to me like that? No, I didn't say it.
That's exactly how she looked at me.
I looked like, no, I looked like, did you see that?
Yeah, and she was like, I was like, I was like, look at her, like it's her job. She's tired. Like I was trying to like come up with reasons why she was rude or whatever. I was like, look, and she was pregnant. Like, she don't even want to be here, and I'm trying to like calm her down. But she was like, you couldn't say that you agree with me. I had no idea what I was supposed to say. So I didn't say anything, but she was getting mad at me.
Hey, it was getting worse. So, like the more he tried to give her an excuse, and really all I wanted was for him to say, yeah, that was crazy. It could have been that simple.
But I didn't know. Like, so
I said, you're not even going to validate or like say that you understand. Like, I'm mad, and John is always trying to explain everything away.
Oh, but I did understood. I understood completely, but I didn't know what she was looking for.
But I didn't need you to solve my situation by telling me how to look at it. I just needed you to co-sign me and be like, that was some crazy shit.
That's what I'm saying. So me learning this journey of communication, I didn't realize it could have been as simple as, dang, that was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. See, yeah. And so
I didn't know.
No. That junk was crazy because I was looking like, all I need you to say is,
But
and
to me,
he wouldn't even look me in the eye. And then to add insult to injury,
here we go.
2 plates came to the table for my son and my husband. What was on the plate, y'all? Guacamole. It was guacamole on the side.
It was crazy.
I was like, what in the world? You know, I'm glad my son doesn't like guacamole because he gave it to me. But the point is, why did we go through that? Why couldn't she just spoon some guacamole on my plate?
So I just want you guys to know.
I know this is petty.
No,
I'm sorry.
no. Like, that's what a healthy relationship looks like. You know, when you can figure things out without it spiraling out of control. Because there are a lot of times where she and I don't see things the same way, and she's really ready to fight.
I am.
See?
But you know, this makes me think of this other thing too, is that sometimes when I'm expressing my frustration to you, I don't want a solution.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm learning too.
I just want to co-sign. And I think that a lot of people are like that.
I'm not like that. I don't want to feel a certain way. So I'm hoping you can give me some information to make me stop feeling that way. That's the way I want. Like, to me, like, you feel that way? Okay, wait. Here. Like, I don't want you to feel that way anymore.
Okay.
That's what I'm, in my mind. Like,
what you're looking for if you're upset.
Yeah, because I don't want to feel that way. Like, who wants to be upset?
Okay. Like, so you want a solution every time if you're talking about it.
Yeah, like,
sometimes I need a sounding board so I can calm down, and then I know what I'm gonna do.
That I get now, but I didn't know that because in my head I'm like, who wants to be mad? I want somebody to tell me to stop being, like, give me a reason why I can calm down.
Well, I'm the kind of person that, like, I can think my way through to my most comfortable solution, but I need a minute to be like outraged. And like somebody be like, yeah, that was some crazy mess.
But see, to me, when I hear that, like, I feel like it's a possibility somebody can instigate you right back up and make you do things that you don't want to do.
No. I think that one of the things about me is when I have to solve these types of problems, it has to feel like a solution that's unique to me, something that is me. And even if somebody hypes me up or whatever, I will tell people left and right that I'm willing to fight. But truthfully, I don't like stress. So I really don't want to. But I do. It helps me to burn off steam. Like, I can be outraged and I can be mad and I can, yell, or I might cuss, or I'll be like, if I saw them again, I would say this or I would do that. But truthfully, when I'm able to calm down, then I think to myself, okay, so what do I need to do so that I can get this taken care of? And then I can think sensibly in a way where I'll feel comfortable in my response. And if I have to think back to this moment again in the future, I'll know that I made a good decision, not a rash reaction, but one that fits me and I'm proud of. I think that's one of the things with Day in Dallas. I remember one time there was a struggle at Dallas's school. It made me really angry because I felt like none of the adults acted in the way they needed to. And I went, when Dallas is telling me the situation, like, it was over the weekend and I was ready to flip over some tables. And I think the kids sometimes think I am willing to flip over tables, and I might be, like, if you catch me on the wrong day. But when I went in there, I knew exactly how I had to address it in order for people to not see me as just an outraged and angry woman. And you know how I feel about the angry black woman thing. But I needed them to really hear and understand what I was saying and let them know I've already thought through this. I have expectations, and we're going to discuss what needs to happen next. Like, if I would have gone in as the angry parent, having felt all the emotions I did when my son told me, nobody would have been safe in that school. But I do understand that in order to get things done, my response has to be calculated. And so even if something gets me mad, in general, I'm not going to act rashly in that moment. I will with whoever I'm with. Like with you, I didn't immediately say to her, that was rude. Like how you said that, you could have said this, or you could have, I didn't do that because that's rude. And I wouldn't have been proud of myself later. But when she walked away, hey, that slow turn of my head to look at him, I was like, that made me so mad.
I know.
And then I was like, she ain't getting a tip.
Yeah, I know. I was like, and I even looked, I was like making sure. I was
gave
like,
a tip.
Oh, I know. I know, because check this out. Sometimes I have to temperature check you to see if you really mean what you say. Because sometimes you say some things, I'm like, she ain't even like that. Why did she say that out loud?
No, one time I didn't give a tip. I wrote a tip on the back of the receipt. Oh my God. Gave them suggestions because it was that bad. But yeah, usually, and to this day, I don't think badly. I mean, I don't regret that response at all for that situation. But in this case, yeah, I've been pregnant. I've had to work and be pregnant and be annoyed and not want to say anything more than just yes or no. I just want to, so I get it.
I'm thinking like me, if I asked her and she responded that way, I think I would have handled it differently, but you would have made me feel like I was supposed to be mad.
Heck yeah. Look, I believe that anger is not necessarily bad. I feel like you should be able to get hype. I feel like everybody should be able to be a little Tupac before they get it together. And
there is no way anybody should be a little any Tupac. None of his decision making was good for him. What are you talking about?
No, because I feel like
angry is bad. We make bad decisions when we're angry.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it has to be that way. I feel like every emotion is healthy.
I'm not disagreeing.
Okay. And so I need to let the emotion come out. So with me, when I'm upset, like I be full of Tupac. I be like real mad and like, oh shoot, like not oh shoot for real, but like I feel like you should be able to get it out. And then you be feeling hype. Like when I was in high school, we used to ride to Tupac and be angry in a mug. And as an example, like in high school, it was always about some girl, some boy, some girl, some boy, right? And I remember one time it was this girl that made me so mad about my boyfriend. I'm dumb. She made me mad about my boyfriend. He should have been, he made me mad. So me and my friend are riding around, and she had a navy blue Corsica with tinted windows and light covers, smoked out lights, if anybody knows what that is. And so we're riding around with the windows down, and we got Tupac playing, and like we are bumping, and it's just like we mad. And I was like, girl, and she was like, yeah. And then we singing a song, and then we go order some food, and it was like, all right, so what we about to do now? And then it was like over, and it felt, we've done that so many times. Like we used to make up songs, like, but it would be like our angry, I wasn't a rapper, but it would be our angry rap songs. And then we would chill out, and but for me, it's like releasing that steam and that pressure and that anger. So then I can come back and be like, all right, was it really that deep? Or
well, what
am I going to do next?
I guess hearing you say it that way, it sounds pretty healthy. But to me, I feel like me being in situations, I've seen people get hype and it always goes to the next level. Like you could be like, oh, that's where it went bad. Like, okay, this was fun. And now it's like, oh, like now trouble has happened. So to me, I feel like if I can control my emotions, like I understand I can appreciate the point of being angry, but if I'm going to make a possible bad decision, I don't want to be angry. And also, like, if I ever get angry with my family, I don't want the energy to change. So it's like, well, that's the way that I feel.
Well, I feel like the energy is gonna have to change. It can be recovered. It's okay.
Well, me, I'm like, well, I was always too much. So I was always exaggerate every situation, and I was trying now I'm to the point where I know I can't get there, but I don't want anybody's bad day to mess up me,
Yeah, yeah. Look, I feel like what Tupac song is it when he was like, F the thing and the click you claim? Golly, it just keeps running in my head right now. Get money.
She's so disrespectful.
Take money. I'm feeling really, look, we gonna get off of here, and I promise I'm about to go play that song. Okay, so.
Let's hit them up.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I'm really gonna go play that. Okay.
But anyways,
first of all,
this is the healthy part of a relationship to me. We both can understand different parts of the I guess periods of time where it makes sense. Like you can mention Tupac, and I totally understand what you were saying. So I really want to say this. So we asked our kids what is the age limit for the separation of a man and a woman, or between two
Partners.
people?
Yeah,
partners. Excuse me. And I believe it started out. It was as high as 5, and then it started to go down. I think it ended up being like 3 or 4. I think, or what did it say at 5?
Maybe 3.
Yeah,
it definitely didn't stay at 5.
Yeah, and you know, we started talking about relationships, and we watched these shows. Where women and men, partners are connected, and age range could be extreme as 10 years. And I'm like, you set up people for failure. And we asked our kids this, and like, it ended up being 3, and it made so much more sense, because wherever you are in your high school years, like, that is like the time period where you remember the most as far as music, clothing, you know, like your style or whatnot.
Yeah.
And if it goes any further than that, one person could think something is real childish.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, like if I say something's live, I remember I used to teach middle school, and I'd be like, that was so live. And they'd be like, what? What? Like terminology, clothes. And then in the show we were watching, this person was like obsessed with the 80s. But the person they were matched with was born in the 90s. So it was like...
So it was like, that was the... all of that... unfair.
Yeah, like she was constantly looking like, what is like, what's... Yeah, so you need someone who can kind of understand part of your... Either they need to be on the front end or the back end or right in the middle of that key point in your development. And I guess not everybody has to.
It doesn't have to, but your conversations are going to be very limited when you run out of small talk.
Yeah. And there are always people that are kind of like, they're into things that weren't even necessarily in their generation. It wasn't.
But you would have to find that person.
Yeah, you would. Ow. So yeah, the idea of Tupac, whoever would have to understand Tupac if they were with me. So
yeah, and you know, I have so many views on that young man. Hey. But anyways, I guess ultimately realize that, you know, when I see age differences with people, like, I don't know how successful it can actually be with happiness on both sides. Like, I think they can make it work, but I don't know if they could get to that point, because they have so many things that they like that the other one does not like at all, because of the age gap. They never gave it a chance.
Well, in circling back to how you started the conversation, depending on when you grew up, the idea of what a marriage or a relationship or what is healthy, it looked different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The roles of the different people in the relationship, it looked different. Expectations were different. And so that's a whole other thing. When you spread a few more years in between you and your partner, then you also have to like level set and be like, okay, well, let me make sure that I know what you're talking about when we're talking about a healthy relationship, or what you expect me to do. What do you expect me to bring to the table as this partner for you? Because it don't look the same for everybody. Be like, I grew up and my parents were like this the whole time. Be like, I grew up and I had one parent and we ain't do that. Yeah. So, you know, people who were raised by parents who were born in the 80s versus parents who were born in the 70s. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, what's so crazy, how purposeful people should be with relationships. They don't even realize that plays such a role if you're going to be successful or not. Like, most of the time we're shallow as the skin that we're attracted to, and not knowing the journey that person got to. Like, the idea that you think it can just work, it could, but it's going to take more work, because it's so much that you thought you could deal with because they look like this, but they brought this with it, you know? So I think that healthy relationships are two people that are open to being completely wrong about the other person and growing with whatever, you know, their hiccups are to get better. But I think that that needs to be addressed, though. You can't assume that somebody is going to be willing to go on that path with you. And when I say that, I mean, like, if you and I, like, just think about when we like when I told you I was going to become a better person, you was like, okay, we're going to see what that looks like. Like there's a possibility that you may not have liked it.
Yeah, but when I married you, I was prepared to be married to the person that I married.
Oh, I know. But you were prepared to leave him too.
I was. But as a kid, I was still a baby kid. I was like, 27, 28. The idea of it was all about love.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. I love him. I love him. And you grow up and you realize, oh, you need a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
you
love.
need a little bit more than that.
Yes. Anybody who gets married for love are going to have a tough road.
Yeah, it's not an impossible one, but it's tough. But, with you, in my head, I was saying, and my mom said this, and I think I've said this before. She said, whatever you don't like now, it's going to be 10 times worse when you get married. So you need to take stock of what you are willing to live with and what you're not. Because if this person never, ever changes, are you still going to want to be with them? Because if you're getting in and be like, with time, he'll figure this out, or with time, she'll get that this is what I need. There might not be a with time. There might not ever be a time where that person is going to make that change that you think is going to, organically take place at some point.
Yeah.
When they grow up a little bit more, they'll understand this. No, you get married and you just understand, is this, if this person never changes, will it be enough for me? Because I think that sometimes we get into relationships, we have expectations that we don't even know we have for someone to grow up and grow into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and we're just sitting there silently expecting it and moving on with our lives. And then we're like, why doesn't he know this by now? What doesn't? First of all, I never told you it was an expectation. Second of all, you wouldn't even know how to start to get there. Yeah. So, yeah, in my head, she told me this all before we got married. And in my head, I was like, yep, if he never changes, I love his stinking draws.
And
and then I was like, maybe
not. But like that's what's so crazy. Like the beautiful organic part about our relationship is that I was messing it up.
That was the beautiful organic part.
Yeah, because I didn't know I was doing it. Wasn't intentional. And for me to be able to figure it out in time for you to not make a costly mistake for the trajectory of our family because of my ignorance.
Okay.
For you to have the patience and grace for me to get there. That's why I said, like, when I remember we have a friend and he said, I love your wife so much. And I was like, why? He was like, because she really loves you no matter what. She married you because she didn't know you were going to become this person. And I was like, oh, she sure didn't. I didn't even know I was going to become this person, let alone her marrying a person that I didn't even suggest. But then when I became this person, as far as trying to be more considerate and try to be more mindful of how I speak to her and how she interprets whatever message I'm trying to give her, like, I didn't even think about those things before. It was just like, you're going to just take it how it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And for you to marry that troubled individual in the past on purpose.
I was out here trying to save him.
Yeah, she did.
I had Band-Aids, hammers, and nails. I was about to put this man on the map. I was going to get him together.
But I do want y'all to know, like, how did you save me? You saved me by just doing what you thought what you were supposed to do. That's how you saved me. Like, I don't want anybody to think like she gave me this tool book or anything.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't. The idea was, I thought, and this was my hammer and my nails and my Band-Aids. I thought that if I loved him hard enough, all of the things would fall into place. And I wasn't actively like, John, you need to do this or you need to do that. I wasn't directing anything at all. I was just trying to create a family and a look and an experience where he would feel like valuable and loved and, look good. The optics look good. And I felt like that was what was going to heal the things that I knew hurt you. Didn't necessarily go out the way I thought. But it was okay because I understood that you were hurt for a good reason. And I just wanted to take care of that person. That was really, so yes, I didn't go in like, you need to start taking some classes and we need to do this. No, it was all behind the scenes of trying to create an environment that, I remember we used to talk about how we grew up. And the way you would describe things, and then I would, and you'd be like, you were privileged, or you, and in my head I was like, no, that's how it's supposed to be. I think everybody thinks how they grew up, or unless it was really, really bad, it'll be like, this is how people do it. And you used to always make me feel like there was something weird about how I grew up.
What's your privilege?
No.
Yes.
So anyway, look, but what I wanted was for you to experience what I did.
Oh, I know.
So that
I'm
you
blessed.
could.
But I didn't see it that way. I felt like the way that I was living, I was supposed to live that way.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that I could become more complimentary to you, where you didn't feel like where you felt like you were overwhelmed with the responsibilities of making this house look the way that it was looking. And I think that's the reason why you like Abu Dhabi so much, because you kind of got to breathe a little.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Because it was definitely, when we talk about complimentary, and for the math people, complimentary, it was truthfully like the matter of me making up 80% of it.
Well, why can't it should be 90 degrees of it, and then I'll be the other 90 degrees because you're complimentary to me and we'll be straight.
It's supplementary, isn't it? When it's
we'll be straight.
Degrees.
We'll be straight.
Oh, you so stupid. So anyway, that was really nice. So, well, before, now it feels 90-90. Before it maybe felt like 130-60.
Maybe.
Yeah. 130-50, I mean. And but I mean, how could I expect you to help me make our family look in a way that you have absolutely no idea how it's supposed to look? Like, it's like giving somebody Legos and be like, make a fire truck. You don't have no pictures. You don't know how it's supposed to look. And that was really what I was like, hey, just follow me. We about to do it like this. But it's hard to follow people when you can't see how it's supposed to look in the end. And you don't even understand the steps of, why are we doing this? Well, what is this? Why does this look like this? And I'm glad that you followed me as much as you did. But yeah, when we got to Abu Dhabi, I felt like everything slowed down and you were much more in tune with what we were doing. Like, you still didn't engage in some of the things we did, but you were so much more present. Even like the kids, I remember John came home, what was it, the first day you came home at like 3 or 4 o'clock?
Yeah, 3:30.
Yeah, and Dallas was looking like, wait, hold on. Why are you here?
Yeah.
Because he used to, when we were in Atlanta, he would get off work around that time, but we wouldn't see him until maybe like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And so that was their expectation. They were with me from after school till they went to bed, but John would come in those last hour, 2 hours or whatever. And so for you to be able to come home and immediately be there when they were done with school and everything, it was just different.
Yeah, I remember, look, they said, Dallas was like, what are you doing home after? It was like the second or third day in a row. I was like, this is what time I get off. He said, oh, we can be a real family.
So I was like, we could be a real family.
He said that. Yeah, he was like 6.
We was like Pinocchio. He was really, really into, the real family experience. And it was like, it wasn't just going to be mommy taking us to go do whatever. Like, we were going to be the whole unit.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. So, do you got anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
No.
Okay, I do. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Malik. He is the founder of Ndugu Kwa Ndugu. Ndugu is an organization that allows for safe spaces for young men between the ages of 13 to 25 can express themselves without pretense. We allow them a chance to talk about these things that frighten them about becoming an adult, helping to navigate life through education, training in various areas that will make the value members of society. Shout out to him. He's really putting his foot in this, and I really believe he's going to create a change for opportunities for young black men that don't necessarily have the environment to get that exposure to make better decisions. Shout out to Ndugu Kwa Ndugu. Also shout out to everybody who is watching my family grow and become what we decide we want to make it, because we're putting the time in to getting to know each other, trying to just create a different perspective for our kids to understand that family can always get better. Because I'm telling you, I grew up differently from my wife. When I say she was privileged, maybe she wasn't privileged, but she was privileged in the perspective that I had, because the things that she had, Lord knows, I thought I was supposed to have, but I didn't. And that's the reason why I do it. Call her privileged, because, you only know what you know.
Exactly.
But y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.